What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back to Middick Motors. Today we're going to be playing with the Shelby, and as you can tell, it's looking pretty good right now. So there's leftover, I don't know what to call it. It's some of it's adhesive, some of it is just part of the stripe. This is how you take care of that, the stripes and the adhesive and all that. In the last video, if you hadn't seen it, I de-striped my gt5 and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The only problem is there wasn't anything under the stripes as far as wax and all that good stuff, so there's adhesive on it and dirt builds up and all that good stuff. So I mean, I did it all. I went straight, no stripes on this thing, and I'll give you kind of a better example of what you can see. So there's adhesive right here, and you can see there's still a little bit of white where the stripes used to be, same with the middle. And so today, that is what I'm taking care of. I am going to do the adhesive removal and polish it up, and we're going to just make it nice and clean and do what we got to do. So I've got my polisher out, which I'm also going to do an oil change. I got my big old 7-inch polisher out, which you definitely don't need. It can be a lot smaller than that. And I've already been started on the hood, and I figured I'd give you guys kind of a glimpse of what I'm doing here and just make a short video about it. That way you don't think I just took the stripes off and it looked awesome, which it does look awesome. It needs a little bit of help. And so that's what we're doing today. So I'm going to strap you to my head. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm trying to show you. The light in here is not great, but I wanted it to stay cool, so the polish and the compound doesn't dry fast, and so that's why I've got it in here under the garage lights. But anyway, so let's get to it, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so if you look right here, you can see that there's still some adhesive, a little bit of, well, it's mostly just a buildup of, you know, all the years. There's just buildup of stuff that has been against the stripes and whatnot. Some of it might be a little bit of adhesive, but it's most likely just the buildup. And so I love Ultimate Compound for color and clarity, is what it says, and it works really well. And this is not a finishing step. It can be, I mean, depending on whatever you like, but I have polish after this. Most of the time, compound will leave a little bit of residue, and so compound kind of is a little more aggressive than polish. That's what we'll say. It digs a little bit deeper into the clear, and then you're supposed to use a polish after because it'll more fine-tune those little scratches that this puts in there. And so this line that on this side of the stripe actually looks pretty good, but I'm going to hit it just a little bit because I used too much polish or compound, and so I'll give it a little pass. And you don't want to put just barely any pressure on this thing. You just want to be nice and smooth with it. So I've got a very, very soft pad on here, and you don't need much of an aggressive pad, especially with compound. I'm just barely even touching the hood. Set this down. Grab my super soft microfiber, whatever this is. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if it's a microfiber. You don't want to barely put any pressure on that as well. You don't want to scratch it if there happens to be anything in the towel. Now this towel is clean, but still. Very nice. All right, so we've got the lines going. Now we've got this one over here, and we'll take care of that one, and then we'll move on to the rest of them. So I've got that buildup kicked down a little bit. So I knew that there was going to be a little bit of contaminants, and why I hadn't showed you guys this yet. We're going to clay bar. Now, the clay bar kit from Walmart comes with auto detailer, which I don't know where it is, so I'm not even going to go look for it. But wash and wax will work as well. That's basically what auto detailer is, and it is, I think, actually I believe this was McGuire's too. So, and what you're going to do is very light pressure, kind of, I like to knead out my clay a little bit and get her ready to go. And you want to make sure your surface is nice and lubed up. What we're going to do is just run this along here just like this. And what this is going to do, this clay will pull out all those contaminants that you don't want swirling around when you go to finish the paint. And so we're going to be nice and easy with it. You can see the dirt in it already. I'm going to go up and down. Over. And there we go. And so we're going to do that side, and then we'll do the front. So now that I've got that center all cleaned up, and I've got the rest of the hood clay barred, I also did the tops of each fender. Now I'm going to take my microfiber orbital, because it's super easy to not get swirls in your paint. Actually, I don't think I have swirls in it anyways, but then I'm going to take this. I've got my Ultimate Polish pre-waxing glaze, and this stuff works pretty great. I did some of the top the other night that I didn't get to show you guys. Figured I'll do a video on it today, and so here we go. So just take couple dabs on there like that. Don't want it to sling. Sometimes it slings anyways, but this is polished. It's a lot easier to get off. And so here we go. I kind of dab it like this so I don't, like I said, sling it. But now the hood is still pretty warm, so you don't want to do a whole lot of an area at once, because it might dry, and you do not want it to dry, because then it is hard to get off. So I'm gonna do pretty small areas like this. And I don't think I'll get this all done in one day, because I've already been working on this for about an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer, and I'm not even done with the hood. So we'll see how far we get today. Alright, you're supposed to leave that on the paint when you do that, but I'm scared it'll scratch it or something. I don't know why, but it's just who I am, I guess. And so we'll try to find a dry spot on this towel that we haven't taken compound off with, and I'm sure there's one on there. But a little bit of trial and error. And you can see, you know, I go back and forth, I go side to side. Just, you know, you find your own way of doing stuff. If you're like me, you'll watch somebody else do it 8,000 times before you do it. It just makes you feel better about doing it, really. Just gonna wipe it nice and soft, so don't put any pressure on this towel. And like I said, polish is a lot easier to get off of the paint compared to compound, of course. Let's see how it looks. Wow, it looks really good. And so you'll notice that I keep bending down like this. That's so I can see in the light what needs addressed a little bit more. Looks like we've got a spot right here that needs a little bit. So satisfying. It's so smooth. That looks like it got it. Still got a few scratches and stuff in it, but that's okay. Let's almost set that on the dirty stuff. Let's pull it out real quick and see what that half looks like. Isn't that something? Let's look at that other side. That paint is just beautiful anyways. You can see we've still got some scratches on this side and stuff, but it looks so good. Alright, let's get back at it. So there we go, we've got it all clayed and cleaned, and I mean, it looks better already, but we'll go ahead and get these lines knocked out of here and polish these stripes in, and it'll look really good. So let's get to it. Well, I think the outside is done. I've got the back all put together. Super neat. That was actually a lot of fun. I did it by eye, and it's pretty close, but you can tell it's off a little bit. But not bad. And I think we've got everything else done. Everything else is polished. Knocked down all the good stuff. And she's about ready to go outside, except for I need to change the oil. And so I'm going to change the oil real quick, and before we end this video, we'll take her outside and we'll see how it looks, see if there's any swirls, see how bad it is. But it should be pretty good. I worked pretty hard on it, and I'm very pleased with the results, and if there's any swirls, then I'll go back over it next weekend and clean her up. But yeah, pretty stoked about it. This rear ring looks so good. This is exactly what I wanted it to look like. And I hadn't had the letters on it yet with the center, and everything is actually on there with 3M double-sided tape, and it came out even better than I thought. And then of course the sides look nice and smooth, the top up there, the spoiler, everything came out well. And so yeah, I'm going to change the oil. We'll pull her out in the sun so you guys can see the sparkle on this thing, and we'll end it off there. Well, there she is. Shiny hiney. Looking good. Swirl's not too bad. Paint is absolutely beautiful. It's just, oh man, she definitely needs washed, obviously. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how little amount of swirls it has in it, because I didn't even use the finisher on the top. I just went with, I just used the big 7-inch polisher. There's no sun, so you can't really tell any difference on this, but it looks awesome. That rear end looks so good. It's so nice. This is exactly what I wanted it to look like, and so this is making my heart happy. Oh man, I need there's so much there's so much polish left on that, but that's all right. I'll get it wiped off one of these days and get it all cleaned up. Oh, look at that paint though. That's so good. All right, so there's the Shelby, the stripeless Shelby, looking awesome. Well, that wraps it up. Now I need to go wash it. It's got an oil change. It's looking good. I just need to go wash it and you know, get it all cleaned up the rest of the way. Make sure I can see where all the polish is still, and be able to take that off a little easier once I know where it is. So, all right, guys, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're not, if you want to see more content like this, and I'll definitely show you when I get it cleaned up. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.